If you're not using AI like this yet, you're not just behind, you're competing at a completely different level. Right now, professionals are saving 10 to 20 hours every single week, not because they work harder, but because they've redesigned how they work. Same job, same responsibilities, but completely different output. The gap is already forming, and it's accelerating. The difference isn't intelligence, it's leverage. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. Because this isn't about tools, it's about how work itself is changing. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact AI stack smart professionals are using in 2026. Not just what the tools are, but how they actually fit together. Because using one tool won't change your output, but building a system will. Most people approach AI the wrong way. They look for tools instead of identifying bottlenecks. They experiment, but never integrate. That's why they don't see real results. The professionals pulling ahead aren't using more tools, they're removing friction. Every tool solves a specific constraint and connects to the next step. That's what creates leverage. Let's start with the first constraint. Thinking from scratch. This is where ChatGPT changes everything. But not in the way most people use it. Most people use it like a search engine. That's surface level. The real advantage is using it as a thinking partner. You don't just ask for answers. You structure problems, you test ideas, you iterate faster. Instead of staring at a blank page, you're starting with momentum. This compresses thinking time, and thinking is where most professionals lose hours. Now let's look at the next constraint: information overload. Contracts, reports, policies, research. Claude allows you to process all of it in minutes, but the real advantage isn't speed, it's clarity. You extract signal from noise, which leads to faster and better decisions. Once you can think faster and process faster, you need to gather better information. This is where perplexity changes the game. It's not just search, it's synthesis. Instead of opening multiple tabs, you get structured answers with sources, which means you can move faster without sacrificing accuracy. And that matters, because speed without accuracy creates risk. But once you have information, you need to turn it into something usable. This is where most professionals fail. They collect, but don't organize. That's where Notion AI comes in. It turns scattered inputs into structured systems. Notes become assets. Ideas become frameworks, meetings become action. This is the shift, from consuming information to owning it. And once your thinking is structured, your communication becomes your next leverage point. Because in most careers, your value is measured by how clearly you communicate. This is where Grammarly fits in, not as a grammar tool, but as a clarity tool. It refines tone, sharpens messaging, removes friction in communication. And these small improvements compound over time, because one clear message can outperform 10 average ones. Now, once your ideas are clear and your communication is strong, you need to amplify how those ideas are presented. This is where Midjourney introduces visual leverage, because visuals reduce cognitive load. They make complex ideas easier to understand instantly. Instead of explaining, you show. And in a world where attention is limited, this becomes a major advantage. But execution is where things truly accelerate. This is where Runway comes in. Runway removes production barriers. You can generate, edit, and create video content without a full team. Which means ideas move faster into execution. And when execution speeds up, output increases. But the biggest shift doesn't come from creation. It comes from automation. This is where Zapier becomes critical. Because time isn't lost in big projects. It's lost in repetition, small tasks, repeated daily. Zapier removes that completely. Workflows run automatically. Data moves without you. Processes trigger themselves. And this is where your role shifts. From doing work to designing systems. Now let's look at something most people overlook. Meetings. They consume time, but rarely produce structured output. That's where Fireflies changes things. It records everything, transcribes it, summarizes it, and turns conversations into usable insights. So nothing gets lost, And more importantly, you stay focused during the conversation. And finally, we bring everything together. Because output matters. This is where Canva comes in. Presentations, reports, content, all enhanced with AI. This is where your ideas become polished assets. And when all of this is combined, you're no longer just working. You're operating at a different level. Here's what this looks like as a system. You research with Perplexity. You analyze with Claude. You organize in Notion. You think and write with ChatGPT. You refine with Grammarly. You automate with Zapier. You present with Canva. Each tool removes a constraint, but together they remove friction across your entire workflow. This is the real shift, from effort to leverage. AI is not replacing professionals. It's amplifying the ones who understand systems. And the gap between those who do and those who don't is expanding faster than most people realize. The question isn't whether AI matters. It's whether you're using it strategically. Because the advantage is already here, and it's only getting bigger every day.